Run.
Yo, shalom, shalom, shalom to everybody in the chat, man. You know, this is the first stream on Streamlabs, man. First stream on Streamlabs. Yeah, so there may be technical issues. We'll see. But, you know, we got a better quality stream now. We got better graphics. And we're going to be stepping it up throughout the next few weeks on the quality of the streams, man. So don't forget to like that video. Like that video if you love the Lord and you love your brother. And like I said, the 1 John 5, man. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Batista Bomb, the subscribe button. Hit that bell icon so you can be notified for all the lives and all the things going on. And check out the video I just dropped today, right? With God Logic saying there's two most highs. Imagine, logically think about that sentence. Two most highs. Imagine that sentence, right? So yeah, we got a lot going on, bro. Like, as being people who live in America, being Israelites who live in America, there's a lot going on. A whole lot going on. Things were going on with this wars, various different things, the economy on life support, right? Yes, and we got a packed show today. I ain't gonna hold you. I heard yesterday I was on Clubhouse, you know, I finally got back on there. I was on there for like the first month it came out. Then I didn't like how people were dealing. So I don't get on it. But now I got back on it, hopped into a IUIC room, and I heard the breakdown about the mark of the beast. Look, no, right? No. I love you guys. No. So we're going to talk about that, talk about the image of the beast, and really more evidence supporting the image of the beast about what Trump and his cabinets got going on. It's a lot of things, bro. A lot of things. Also, you know, if it be on your heart, you know, if you just look down below, we have Cash App if you want to support us. And for people who live outside of America, we have PayPal now for if you want to support us. We also have there's something else. There's something else. Drawing a blank. It'll come back to me, right? Yeah, it'll come back to me. We got a lot of things going on, right? Also, that's what it is, right? Hit the like button. Also, leave a super chat or super thanks, depending on whenever you are watching this video, if it be upon your heart. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today, doing a lot of different things. So let's get into this. Let me switch this scene. And one more thing. Y'all see the graphic on the chat. It gets problematic with Yachty, right? You know, I had to make sure I dug up my old catchphrase, and we're going to bring that back. And I think that's going to be it. So that's what I was going to say. That's going to be its own series where it gets problematic. So just be on the lookout for that. Because I've been saying that for the longest, and I've been saying I want to do a series about it. We're going to be doing that, bro. So it gets problematic with Yachty. Let's go into this real quick. Yeah, like that transition. But when y'all get a chance, like I said earlier, check out this God Logic video I did. Because that's how I want to start doing my videos moving forward, and the type of quality I do with those. I want to start doing that moving forward. I don't want to just be the traditional Hebrew Israelite channel and I'm not doing all that, right? I'm going to step my game up, because this is how we get ourselves into the algorithm so more people can see this. Christ said when this gospel hits the ends of the earth, that's when the end will come. And we got to be pretty close, because when we look at what we're about to look at now, it's just a matter of time, bro. It's a matter of time. Matter of time, right? So let's look at this. Let's look at this real quick. So yeah, let's do this. So this is going to be we're not going to watch a lot of this, because I just want to show this part from Steve Ram, because he talks about what's going on this, like, from Monday all the way to Wednesday, right, today. He's talking about Iran's saying we are in full scale war with America. Full scale war with America. Do y'all understand what that means? That is Isaiah the 13th chapter, if we haven't seen it. That is Isaiah the 13th chapter verbatim. Let's get him saying that, and then we're going to jump to that. Watch this.
Developing news coming out in the past couple of hours today, July 20th, 2026, as we're hearing that the president of Iran has announced full-scale war is about to take place. It's about to be underway, and we need to all brace for the consequences of what is about to come.
So he says that the nation of Iran and the world has to brace for the consequences of what's going to come with full-scale war with America. Do you know what that means? That means an economic crash. That's what that means. That's what that looks like. That's what everybody needs to brace themselves for. And we're going to see more of that later.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest headlines so that way you can see it for yourself. You can see here, just in, Iran's president Pezeshkian says that Iran is in a full-scale war with the United States. This coming out just a couple of hours ago. Look at Ghalibaf, one of the leaders for Iran. He says Americans keep bringing new military equipment to the region and claim that they're after stopping the war. They've bet on our intelligence being as brief as their own IQ. We've reached the stage of mastery in recognizing these American games, and on a basis, we prepared ourselves. Actions must confirm claims, not contradict them. You can see this coming out just a little while ago today. This is the rhetoric coming out of Iran, and you can see here breaking Iran's foreign ministry on Trump planning to invade Karg Island. Many people on Karg Island are counting down the minutes to finally meet the American soldiers. They're saying they are preparing for all-out full-scale war announced today, and you can see the headlines coming out today. Pezeshkian tells Iranians to brace for the consequences of a full-scale war with the United States. Not only are we no longer in the MOU, but they are saying this is not a minor war. This is not tit-for-tat escalation. They're preparing to pull out all the stops to escalate this to full scale. Now, man, let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, to full scale. Why? Because it's become existential to them. They're at this point, America is threatening their existence as a nation. They're Israel through America and Israel are threatening Iran's existence. So they've made this existential to them. So now it has to be a full-scale war. That right there, that sentence, when I saw that sentence, I wish I didn't have life going on, right? Because I really wanted to go live for that day when this was said. This is a few days ago. A little bit has happened since then. I wish I could have been live for that, because that lets us know we closer to Isaiah 13. Let's read that real quick. Let's read that really quickly. Look at this. Isaiah 13:17. It says, their bows will slaughter the young men. They will have no mercy on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes will not pity children. Right? It says, where is this at? Oh, no, I skipped one. 17. Behold, I'm stirring up the Medes against them, who have no regard for silver and do not delight in gold. That's financial deals. They're not going to delight in no type of, there's not going to be no MOU, memorandum of understanding. We have an agreement to make an agreement in the future. That's dead. That's what we see right here with this. It says their bows will slaughter the young men. They will have no mercy on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes will not pity children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the splendor and pomp of the Chaldeans will be like Sodom and Gomorrah when God overthrew them. Now God didn't overthrow the original Babylon. I say this all the time. God didn't overthrow the original Babylon with fire. The Persians went in there and just took it. So God is not a man that he should lie, but he said this through Isaiah. So this is going to happen. When is this going to happen? Oh, I know. When you see this Babylon arise in the book of Revelation. That's this Babylon. That's that place we're living in right now. The most proud, or I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free, apparently, right? But they said that while having slaves is crazy, but you'll have black and Hispanic people say that they have a stake in this land. We don't. But we're looking towards this. We're looking for this to happen, because when this happens, we are going to be delivered. Look at the next chapter. And then we're going to start going into some videos. I want to show y'all some things, because there's more I want to highlight about this, but I want to get the video so we see things, so we can put images to what we're reading. Because I feel like that's the most apt way to understand things. Just like when they put pictures in books, right? It helps you understand things. They do that with children because it helps them understand things instead of just seeing words. So let's look at this. When you see when you see, or if you remember what I said earlier about when this place falls, here comes our salvation. I've been saying that for damn near ever. I want to show y'all this, and I want to show y'all the destruction of Babylon. So Isaiah 14:1, it says, the Lord will have compassion on Jacob and will again choose Israel and will set them in their own land, and sojourners will join them and will attach themselves to the house of Jacob. The peoples will take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them in the Lord's land as male and female servants. They will take captive those who were their captors and rule those who oppress them. Right? That's what's going to happen when the Lord's kingdom is established. Israel, he's going to again choose Israel, the election, showing you how the elect can't be heathen, but he's going to again choose Israel again, bring us back to our land, and the people who survive all of this madness that we're going to see come, like hopefully, Lord willing, it's in our lifetime. All of this madness we're, Lord willing, going to see, all the heathen that survive that are going to come attach themselves to us and then become our servants. That's what the Lord says. That's what the prophecies say. Now watch this. It says, when the Lord has given you rest from your pain and turmoil and the hard service with which you were made to serve, you will take up this taunt against the king of Babylon. How has the oppressor ceased and the insolent fury ceased? So the last people you are going to see as your captors are going to have to be the Babylonians. How do we know that? Because if we're going to say this is ancient Babylon, when Babylon fell, the Persians had us, they occupied us. They had power over this. Ezra and Nehemiah talk about how the bondage was hard. So this wasn't fulfilled in ancient Babylon. We didn't have rest from our turmoil then. It didn't happen when the Grecians tried to occupy us. It didn't happen when the Romans, it definitely didn't happen when the Romans occupied us. They came and killed our Messiah. Right? They unalived Christ. That's not rest from your pain. Well, in a way it is. That because I mean he's we're not even gonna go there, right? But the fact that they have the ability to do that is not a fulfillment of this. Right. And after that happened, then you had 70 AD, then you had the Bar Kokhba revolt where we were all expelled from our land. So this hasn't happened yet. So when is this going to happen? When Babylon is destroyed. And we see prophetically in the chapter before this, in chapter 13, who's going to do it? Media. Where is media? Where is media? Right? Media. Look at this. Persia proper. Let's see. Look, Persia is the historical exonym for the modern day nation of Iran. These are prophecies we are looking for. That's why I always get on the internet and harp on this. This is important to know. These are things you need to understand, along with the image of the beast and along with the mark of the beast, right? Which is going to be something akin to a RFID chip, right? You know, I'm jump the gun with that for so I don't leave y'all in suspense. I do believe it's going to be that. It's not the mark of the beast is not sin. It's not. And you know how we know it's not sin? You know how we know it's not sin? Because the mark of the beast comes from the second beast. The second beast, everybody knows, and for everybody who's an Israelite and some Christians knows that this beast is Babylon. That second beast over there in Revelation 13, that's Babylon. That beast comes from him. It's created from him or that. What is that? What is that? That nation, Babylon. That's where that comes from. Also, if sin is the mark of the beast, sin came from the Torah. Paul says in Romans 7 that I didn't know sin but by the law. So if that's the case, then God's given out the mark. God's law is the mark of the beast then. That's what you have to believe. And if anybody wants that debate, I'll take that debate, right? But I'm saying this too before we get to that. I'm also going to do an isolated video showing how the mark of the beast is going to be something akin to akin to a RFID chip. It's going to be something. I'm not going to say it's literally that, but it's going to be akin to something like that because it's going to have radio waves. It's going to have to carry data. Both of those things the RFID chip can do now, right? So it's going to be something akin to that. So I'm doing a video showing how it's that and showing arguments that people make to say it's not that, and then confounding those. That's gonna be its own specific video. But let's go into this. Where is this at? There we go. Let's go into some videos. I want to show y'all this, right? Because we're gonna watch some secular talk and we're gonna watch some breaking points. And we're gonna watch one secular talk, right? And this one's crazy. When you see all this stuff going on, this is crazy.
Because the U.S. thinks, okay, Iran's definitely going to attack this base. Let's send them to this other base, which they're not going to attack. And then that base gets attacked. Okay, so Iran's intelligence is way better than the U.S. has realized. It's very possible that Russia or China or both are aiding Iran with their intelligence.
Russia and China are, BRICS nations are aiding Iran. That's Zechariah 1 for you.
Which is leading to them to get some, spot-on hits here. But that's what's now happened a number of times. In fact, the most recent round of deaths, I believe that's the reason why, is because they were moved from one base to another, and then that new base was hit, okay? 6 more died when a refueling aircraft went down in western Iraq, and 3 were lost in last week's escalation. By the way, I said this at the beginning of the conflict. I'm going to say it again now. I think they're still underselling it. It was just reported the other day they absolutely have been underselling the number of injuries, but I'm also convinced they're lowballing the number of deaths as well. And they're doing everything they can to slow roll us, to release it. They leave big gaps in between when they release the information. They're trying to mitigate the negative PR as a result of people dying in a war that should have never fucking happened in the first place.
And that's a big thing. That is, fair use. I don't got my banner on Streamlabs. I don't got my banner. I gotta do that. I'm still getting used to Streamlabs, so like I said, bear with me, right? But fair use, right? And all these things are going to be used for news reporting, criticism, teaching, scholarship. That's what this is all going to be for. All these are going to be used for news articles, right? And citations.
Okay, so we also have this. Let me show you. Trump comes out and says the following. Every time Iran kills an American soldier, they will pay for that killing many times over. This directive has been passed on to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Daniel Kaine, and every leader in the military, President Donald J. Trump. So clearly panicking, crashing out, feeling like, I'm going to look weak if I don't avenge U.S. soldiers being killed. By the way, one was 25 years old, another one was 19 years old. We just got the word today that there was a 28-year-old as well who was killed. Just insane. We showed the pictures on the show the other day. These people should be alive. These people absolutely positively should be alive. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Again, this war never should have happened. But here's Trump saying, well, now we're going to go after, we're going to hit you many times over for every one of us that you get, okay? All right, more. He also said this. From this point forward, anytime the Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether it be by missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant, including those located to or in the capital city of Tehran. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So
those are war crimes. Could you imagine if another country came and did that to what's that bridge in San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, I believe, right? Or somebody knocked out the power grid. Hopefully they never do that in Texas because we on our own power grid, and Lord in Christ, we gotta Lord in Christ. Texas is finished at that point. At this point, just pray for me, right? Lord willing, the Lord chose me to get me and my family and everybody out here keeping the commandments to be delivered, right? Lord willing. But could y'all imagine if something like that happened? That would be crazy. That's what this man is casually floating to another nation, another sovereign nation. That's what this dude believes. So this is why the MOU is dead. There is no agreement to make another agreement later in the future. There's no we're gonna have a deal with you and then we're going to move around monies and things no, that's over with. It's full scale war at this point because this is what you casually float. And this is important to know for people waiting for Isaiah 13 And not just Isaiah 13, Revelation 17, which we're going to talk about later. We need to be looking at stuff like this. Look at how mad this is the Mad King right here. This is the Mad King.
Only in this modern depraved era of law of the jungle and might makes right can you have a U.S. president go out there and openly boast and brag that I'm the war crimes man. I am going to continue to commit war crimes, and you're going to deal with me doing war crimes. Okay? I am proud of the fact that I'm going to go after your civilian infrastructure. So all these innocent men, women, and children, there's grandmas and grandpas and toddlers and babies who will all be horrendously negatively affected by this. Okay?
You got to think about it like that. Like, bro, like they're still crying about 9/11. Right, you know, they say, like, never forget that. We got to forget the millions of blacks and Hispanics who died during the transatlantic slave trade, but we have to remember what happened in the early 2000s with 9/11. They're still crying about that now. Could you imagine if one of these things happened in America? How people be up in arms? That's why they're hiding the true death count in this war, because when they finally have the balls to do whatever false flag they want to do, they're going to need all the support they can for this war. I'm gonna be real honest with you. That's why they're doing that. But speaking of this, that reminded me to show y'all something. So this is from the Hormuz letter. So this is Iran responding back to what Trump just said in his live social post. Right. So breaking, Iran directly responds to Trump's new threat on Truth Social that the U.S. will from now on bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant in Iran, including Tehran, each time Iran strikes a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, saying if the Americans target a bridge or a power plant in Iran, Iran will in turn strike infrastructure and bridges in the region. It's talking about America's allies in the region, the Gulf nations that America's allied with. And they've been destroying stuff there for a minute, right? Every time they do that, they're going to do that to them. But one thing that's crazy about that is that's where America be investing a lot of their money with these people out there, with the Gulf nations. They have agreements with finances with like Live Golf and the things they do with WWE. It's Riyadh season, right? You know, all the things they do with Saudi Arabia and all that. They're going to start attacking the people in their region. That's gonna hurt their ability to do things to them at a close distance. Like I love how this is so asymmetric. I love this. I love how this is doing. This is how this is going. Right. This is a really this right here is a real masterful way of a David and Goliath story. Right. It's a real masterful David and Goliath story. Now America would be like Goliath because they have all this money, they have all this land, all these people, all this military might, but you have this nation that's defeating it asymmetrically, right? What do I mean by asymmetric? What does everybody mean by asymmetrically? They don't have to do like a D-Day type of old World War II type of war. What they can do is put stress on the economies to where America has to now act irrationally. And it's easy to destroy somebody who's acting irrationally. That's what they're doing. And they're being David and flatlining Goliath. That's where we're at right now. And we're gonna see that with the economy when we go into a few more videos. There's a lot of stuff I want to show y'all. There's a lot of things happening that we need to be cognizant of, right? Wow, right? It says, including energy facilities where the United States has interest, like what I was saying about earlier, per an Iranian military source to Tasnim, right? The Iranian military source adds the Americans should have become fully aware in the past 10 days that Iran will target and destroy whatever it chooses. Talk your shit. Whatever it chooses, and that any potential gamble by Trump will once again lead to his disgrace. Right? Oh my God. Bro. Persia talking their shit, bro. Oh man, this is what the Lord was talking about when He was stir up the Medes. This is exactly what He's talking about. They don't care about gold or silver. Like F that deal. We gonna get it back in blood. You love to see it, right? You love to see it. I think I got another one. Breaking, Iran warns it will cut off electricity to all U.S. regional allies as soon as its bridges and power plants are attacked, per IRGC Aerospace Commander to Tasnim. Musavi adds, I think that's how you say it, Musavi adds, if our bridges and power plants, that's the second time I did that, power plants are attacked, it will result in power outages for our allies and those who host soldiers. This is certain. They are talking their shit. You love to see it, bro. You love to see it. You love to see it.
Trump doesn't care. He doesn't care. In fact, that's the point. That's the point. Which is why, by the way, I told you, when they attacked that little girls' school, they knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. They knew that those were the kids of top IRGC officials.
Yeah, and this is why they talking their shit. Y'all knew that's where we had our kids at, and you bombed it. You bombed it. So now, like, screw, and not only did you bomb it, you triple tapped it. When people came to go try to help people who got destroyed in that bomb, y'all bombed them again. And then when they sent more rescuers to save the rescuers and the people who was originally bombed, they hit it again. That's why it's like, we can't, if it were me, there's no deals, there's no plea agreement, there's no turning state's evidence. You have to do your time, right? And they're fully justified in it, because this is what you do. You did it on purpose. You can't bomb somebody's children 3 times in a row in the same location with the EMS people 2 times on top of that and think it's okay. You can't do that. That's why we've gotten to where we're at. And now you have Trump in late stage dementia being the mad king, just wheeling this full scale destruction of Babylon, just wheeling it into existence. Like, we're so close. Like, if this is what it's gonna be, and like this has to play out, and it just goes the way I think it's gonna go, bro, we might be up out of here, bro. we might be up out of here, bro.
Okay, they knew that. And so they were sending a message to Iran, like, hey, we'll go lower than you can ever imagine. We just murdered 160 little girls. There's nothing we won't do to destroy you and defeat you. Okay, so tell me who the terrorist is. I'll wait. All right, more. Let me give you this. So President Trump's figure for innocent Iranian protesters killed by Iran during the January 2026 protests, said often for justification for his war, has steadily climbed week by week. So it went from 32,000 is what he said in a February news briefing. Then he said 52,000. Now he made it 52,000 plus. Okay? Now, I told you all along, this is completely and utterly made up. This is bullshit. If you're an official U.S. state enemy, you get leeway to lie about those people as much as you want, right? If you're an ally, they lie in the other direction, and they downplay and they undercount the damage you've done. For example, look at what happened in Gaza. Even just citing the Gaza Health Ministry numbers was viewed as, oh, you're not allowed to do that. Even though that was an undercount, they acted like it was an overcount, right? So depending on your status in terms of what you are in relation to us, that determines what you get away with and which direction they lie, right? But here's the reality. So a U.S.-funded human rights group said it's actually 7,000 deaths, including hundreds of Iranian police and security personnel. So in other words, both sides of the fighting, and 7,000 was the total figure. And Iran's government figure is about 3,100. Trump has now made it 52,000 plus, bro. The army said it was launched in response to repeated U.S. attacks on Iran. Iran's army described Al-Duha as a major U.S. military base and support hub in Kuwait, housing large numbers of U.S. personnel and equipment. So here's a little bit of what that looks like. Look at this. That's a lot of fireworks, y'all. That's a lot of fireworks. Okay. Confirmed destruction of the AN/FPS-117 long-range radar at the Ahmed Al-Jaber Air Base in Kuwait. Satellite imagery released by Iranian media. This radar was targeted 24 hours ago. See map below. So, in other words, what's happening here is Iran is successfully taking out more and more of our radar and our monitoring infrastructure. And what this does is it doesn't bode well for the future of the U.S. in the region, and it doesn't bode well for Israel, because a lot of this stuff is used to protect Israel when Iran counterattacks against Israel.
Yeah, that's I didn't even think about that. With them taking out all the U.S. bases and all the air surveillance centers and where they, I guess, shoot their interceptor missiles, things like that. Israel is even like, look, bro, Israel is even like less safer. They're less safer now at this point. Like that Iron Dome, we already seen that get wore down in the last little, what they had, like the 10 days war. I forgot, 10 days, 11 days, whatever it was. They got wore down off of that. Just imagine after this. And you know what's going to happen when it, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to say that. You know, small hats. You know, Ariella, I was just thinking that. Unwalled villages is loading, right? If you know, you know, right? If you know, you know.
And if we end up not having these monitoring systems in place, then effectively our bases and Israel become more and more sitting ducks, right? And I mean, it's just like the first day of the war. They took out like our biggest radar center. And then now here we are, and they're able to continue to find a crucial, vital U.S. infrastructure and go after that. So it kind of incredible stuff. All right, more, here we go. Kuwait is now rationing electricity because of Iranian retaliation against its power grid. Today's high in Kuwait City is 117 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh my days. It is madness for Trump.
That is a matter of fact, no, I'm gonna let him say this.
To strike Iran's civil infrastructure when the reprisals are so bad. No, it's madness for Trump to attack Iran's civil infrastructure because that in and of itself is evil and atrocious and vile and disgusting and wrong. It is morally wrong. It also is bad that it's led to Iran counterstriking in the same way, but it's bad in its own respect. Even if Iran didn't respond by going after Kuwait's infrastructure like this, it would still be bad because Iranians count. They are people too. But imagine rolling blackouts when it's 117 degrees. That's life-threatening, period, full stop. That is life.
Yeah, that right there, right? Imagine that in America. Economic collapse could cause that too. Right now in Texas, right now in DFW, it is 106, right? I have 3 fans pointed at me. If I did not have any fans pointed at me, it would be absolutely ridiculous in here. I would be sleeping in the car. Right? I would go get some gas with the last of my funds and sleep in the car. That would be a horrible, horrible thing to happen. And this is happening to allies of America. This is what's going on in Kuwait as a direct result to Trump's brutal and unlawful war that he's doing. Do you think people are going to accept this for that much longer? Because I don't, right? I don't. And we already see Iran talking this shit. Now, when we get to the economic part, when we see the global collapse because of this war with Iran, then we're going to start seeing chess pieces move on the board, right? What I mean by that, nations drawing the line in the sand. Like, you know what? I can't get behind this irrational, mad king man, and I'm going to have to now make some deals with the brick. That's going to lead you to Revelation, the 17th chapter, where the horns on the beast are going to turn against the great whore, which is America, which is Babylon, which is that great city, and burn her with fire. That's what's going to happen. Now we see this happening to the Gulf nations. Nobody in America gives a damn because it's like, oh, what's not happening to me? But I'm telling you right now, if all these people are correct, these economists talking about what's going to happen in America, I'm telling you this right now, this will be our reality. This will be our reality. I'm telling you. And then that's what we're going to start seeing Matthew, the 24th chapter. Where people are going to be turned on brothers and sisters. Everybody's going to be like having to deal with what they're going to do and the options they're going to have when it comes to a famine. That's what's going to be our reality, bro. And we need to prepare ourselves for that mentally. Like Ariella said, the plagues are coming to Egypt. And we're going to talk about them plagues. Right?
Life-threatening. People can die. A massive number of people can die because of that. This is insane. And now, what did I tell you? The
Watch
nuclear planes are in the air.
There it
They're all
is.
Weapons. Pickaxe Mountain. Nobody heard of Pickaxe Mountain fucking 6 days ago. Now all of a sudden, oh yeah, Pickaxe Mountain. Not only are we going to attack there, we're going to use bunker-busting nuclear weapons. We're going to nuke a country. Are you out of your fucking minds? This is insane. And now, what did I tell you? The nuclear planes are in the air. They're already in the fucking air, bro. Look, multiple U.S. Air Force B-1 Lancer Heavy.
Yeah, that's the news of the day. The nuclear heavy planes are in the air and they're going out there, bro. They're going out. Look. I'm not gonna hold you. If this man drops this bomb, we might need to redo our Revelations 13 breakdown. Like when it said when fire come down from heaven, we always said that was Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I mean, I've been teaching that. A lot of other Israelites have been teaching that, right? Because it makes sense. You don't see that anywhere else. But what I've been saying for everybody in my camp watching this video and who know me, I've been saying I think this is going to happen again. I definitely think this is going to happen again, especially when you look at the language of Revelation 13. We might touch on that a little bit later, but I think this might happen again. I think this man might do it. I think he might. I think he might just be the Mad King and do it. And if that happens, look, bro. If that happens, oh my God, bro, it's over. It's over. It's over with. We up out of here at that point. There's no going back.
Strategic bombers departed the UK shortly after Trump directly threatened strikes on Iran's Pickaxe Mountain nuclear facility. The UK's new Prime Minister Burnham has also just approved the use of UK bases for US strikes on Iran, per Bloomberg. So the vassal state is vassal stating, y'all. Fucking embarrassing and pathetic. A whole country of cucks over there in the UK. But look at this. Look at this. The nuclear planes are in the sky as they're openly saying Pickaxe Mountain needs to be attacked. That's where the nuclear stuff is. And we are going to use bunker buster nuclear weapons to get inside the granite mountain and blow it all up. By the way, let me just state for the record right now, if they do it, not only is this completely and utterly psychotic, there is a 0% chance it'll work. In the same way that last June, when they attacked the Fordo nuclear facility, they went out there the next day and said, oh, it worked. We destroyed all of their weapons. The problem is solved. The problem is over. That was complete and utter lies. They didn't get Dickie McGee's axe. They got nothing. They got bupkis, okay? But they lied about it. And then, wow, would you look at that? The same people who told us the problem is solved and we destroyed all their nuclear stuff, turns out, fast forward, not that much in the future, and they were like, we're going to do a full-scale war against Iran because we got to solve this problem. What, I thought you just solved the problem. You told me. Oh, you didn't? It turns out you made that up and lied about it? Well, here we are, same shit. They're going to nuke them and pretend like it worked and then go, turns out it didn't work, but we're going to say it worked as we continue to fight the war, proving it didn't work. Oh, my God. U.S. official to the Washington Post. We do not have enough air defense and long-range munitions due to low supply and battle damage to safely sustain operations, and I don't think the White House is aware of that.
Bro, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, bro. Look at that. They don't have enough air defense. Do you know what you need to do a full-scale war? And to have ground troops go over there and try to take Carg Island, you're going to need air defense. Those people are going to get put in the meat grinder, bro. They're going to get put in the meat grinder. If you have people in the military, if you have family, and I know it is, it's killing me. I realize it's funny shit. But if you have people in the military, you have family in the military, and their contract is up or almost up, get them the hell out of there because the Mad King is about to send them to their deaths, right? This will not work. And if that ground invasion does not work, the Mad King is going to do more Mad King things. You know what the more Mad King things are? Sending a nuke. What else? I mean, what else can you do? Trump can't take no L. If he takes an L, America takes an L. America's existence and ability to project itself as a world power starts. It starts and it's completely built and founded on them being the people that nobody can fuck with. If you take that L, that's gone. The veil is torn, right? The very thin veil is torn. That's why I talked about it. That's why I talked about it, to deceive those that are on the earth by the means of those miracles. When he makes fire come down from heaven. Because if he drops that nuke, everybody's gonna think, oh, we can't mess with them. But America is not built to sustain anything after that. That's your last ditch effort. Right? That's it. So I'm telling you this right now. Like, we might be the generation that sees the chariots. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. We might be the generation that literally sees the salvation of Israel. Oh yeah, Ariella, that 19-year-old girl was crazy. She was from out here, like in Carrollton, Texas. That's about like maybe 20-ish, 30-ish miles away from me. That's not very far from me. And another thing that's crazy too, and why I also say, if you have family, get them the hell out of the military. The people who are dying, when it showed the pictures, that's us. That's the northern and southern kingdom. That is us. That's us dying in this war. That's why things like that give me more credence to think we might be up out of here, because when you see in Revelation 18 where it says, come up out of her, my people, lest ye be partakers of her plagues, what's happening right there is part of the plagues. We need to get up out of these. We need to get up out of the military. We need to get up out of we need to do our best to get saved out of Babylon the Great. That's what the immediate context of that chapter and that verse is talking about. But two, we also do need to come out of the mindset of this place. Like, it's not our rest. It's not going to save us. It's not going to deliver us. It's never done anything. I don't think that Hellcat, I don't even know if you can buy Hellcats anymore. I think they discontinued them, but some people might buy them, right? That Hellcat is not worth it. The Scat Pack is not worth it, right? None of it's worth it. I'm not going to hold you. To be the people who have to fight against Christ, that is not worth it, bro. It's not worth it. You need to get up out of here, bro. That Camaro is not worth it, bro. I would not want to be the people who have to fight against Christ, man. And also, shalom to everybody who's just coming in. Like I said it earlier, I say that to y'all who are just coming in. Shalom to everybody. Look at this. Let's continue.
So this is another reason why I fear what comes next. We don't have the weaponry we need anymore. We're blowing through our interceptors. We're blowing through all sorts of stuff here. Okay, we partially wanted the MOU to reload and refresh and replenish. Turns out that didn't last very long, so we haven't reloaded, refreshed, and replenished. So we are running low on virtually everything. And meanwhile, Trump's like, I'm not interested in negotiation. I'm not interested in diplomacy. We violated every deal we made with Iran. So what's left? You tell me. What's left is a ground invasion. What's left is taking Karg Island or Keshem Island or any of the oil important islands. What's left is this virtue signal nuke where he would bomb the mountain and act like this solves the problem. But none of the options that are actually on the table are good. They're all terrifying, and they're all a fucking fat idiot acting like he's a cornered animal. Okay, that's what you need to understand. This is uncharted territory that we're in right now.
Yeah, and that's what I've been saying. He's going to, if that ground invasion fails, and which it's going to, because they literally been saying, come on over here and do this. They've literally been invited. No, I think I have hold up. Yeah. Speaking of, right? The Hormuz letter again. Watch this. Breaking. Iran has organized more than 1 million fighters for potential ground battles with the United States, saying it is waiting for the arrival of American troops on the ground to set them on fire and punish to set them on fire. Isaiah 13, right? To set them on fire and punish their regional partners forever, per Iranian state TV. Bro, look, bro. They talking they shit, man. They talking they shit. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy to see a nation do this in the year of our Lord 2026, right? It's crazy. It's crazy to see it, right? You love to see it too, right? But it's crazy. They said they're waiting. Please pull up. That's the equivalent of somebody saying, please pull up. Bring your friends. Please pull up. We're waiting on you. Here's my location. That's literally what they're doing. Here's my location. Please pull up. That's what they're doing. Look. And if this I'm telling you right now, if this goes south, look what Trump has. Because, bro, you got to think about it like this. If that goes south, CNN and Fox News, all them, the state regime media, they're turning on him, and he's going to have to make a real difficult decision. Do I want to press this button or I want my presidency to be over with? Right? There's two options he's going to have. And if you press that button, there is no going back, man. There is no going back. We're in a time where it was getting to a point where I didn't even think we were going to see it. But you know what? Look, we're here. And all praise for the Lord, man. I hope, Lord willing, we endure to the end so that we can be saved.
And perhaps the most eerie part of all of it is like, I really don't see the proper reaction to this moment that we're in. It is very disturbing to see everybody's reaction to this, just acting like it's another day. People go, oh yeah, okay, so we're bombing Iran again.
Just one more thing. Talk to your coworkers, bro. When I talk to my coworkers about this BS, when I told them, when I told them about like the Houthis, we're gonna watch this right after this, about the Houthis trying to shut down the other strait, right? Taking 4 billion gallons of oil off the market, which is about to shoot gas prices up astronomically. They want to laugh at me then. They say, oh, that didn't happen like you said it was gonna happen. You know, it's fine. They think it's another day. It's to the point to where like it's starting to rain. It's starting to rain, bro. You must build. This is the year of building your ark. That's the motto. Build your ark.
I've seen this movie before, right? Oh, I guess gas is going to go up 2 more cents.
Oh, so yeah. Try. I think you came in late. He talked about it earlier. They're already assisting China and Russia's already assisting them with targeting. So if this gets any bigger, they're like, I guarantee you, bro. I guarantee you they're gonna step in. We don't just see Isaiah 1 where it talks about the 4 carpenters and the 4 horns. We don't just see that prophecy and think nothing comes of that. Right? We don't just see that and just brush past it.
No, it gets a lot fucking worse than that, son. It gets a lot worse than that. Okay, here we go. Some more. Breaking. Iran's IRGC says it has destroyed the entire Amazon Central Data Center facility in Bahrain, warned Italy's their version of Amazon. And then it's on like Donkey Kong. You can't also, build military stuff there, and that's why it is also the straighter market in your companies and lead to a global crash. Don's going, all right, if it's on like Donkey Kong, then it's on like Donkey Kong, bitch. And we're going to go after Amazon's data center, and we're going to go after all these big, important U.S. corporations to further show you can't fuck with us. Okay, you can't fuck with us. We'll fuck up your gas prices, and we'll also fuck up your stock market and your companies and lead to a global crash. Okay, do you not understand how serious this is yet? All right, more. Brent crude oil this morning surged to $94. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed, and Bab el-Mandeb is banned to Saudi navigation.
Yep. That's what I was trying to tell y'all, bro. And this is going to lead us to the next videos. This shot, gas was like, since everybody was tricked into thinking Trump's almost getting us up out of the war, right? Oil prices like fell to like what, 80, 70 dollars per barrel. That thing shot up almost 20 points in the last day. Do you know what that means? That means when you go to the gas, like here it's $3. The lowest I got it the other day was Monday or Tuesday. I paid $3.40. When I drove today, like to Dallas proper, when I drove to Dallas proper today, I saw gas at $3.70. This way is a 24-hour period. It's only gonna go up from here. And then when we go to the next video, you're gonna see it's only gonna go up from here. And look at that, brother. I got up Streamlabs on, so I can't see your name properly, so I don't want to missay it. Like, brother, talking about this 429, right? Lord, Lord help your soul, man. Because in Texas, people are going to war out here. And I remember when COVID first happened and the gas prices shot up, people were drilling into people's gas tanks and then still in their gas, bro. Like that, and that was only with $4. Could you imagine $5 to $6 out here? And, bro, look, Texas. Like the thing about Texas is people don't give a fuck out here. Everybody got got the pew pew. Everybody got weaponry. It's always been the wild west out here. You introduce a famine, high gas prices, freaking you go to HEB and you see stuff that's usually $2, $6. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's time. Right.
What did I tell you? All the tricks of the trade are fucking not working anymore.
Shit, 409 is nuts, bro. I think that's about as high as it got for us during COVID. I don't think it got any higher than 410.
And what do we do in this situation when we're at the bottom of the strategic reserve and every way of getting oil out of the Middle East is shut down? Look at this. Israelis in private telegram group are mocking the death of the 19-year-old U.S. soldier Isabella Gonzalez. She died protecting Israel. They are laughing. Look at this. This is the picture of her.
Look at that, bro. Look at these small hats. They afraid to go fight the war themselves. And then now you see us, what you would call us goyim or us kushi, right? When we go die for them, they want to laugh about it. Like, these people are the synagogue of Satan, man. These people are the synagogue of Satan. These guys are Amalek, right? And the other word for that.
19, bro. 19. 865 laughing emojis. By the way,
That's
Israel was asked if they plan on getting back in the war, and they go, we like the position we're in.
Wow.
In other words, yeah, go ahead. Let the Americans fight. Let the Americans die. Let Trump fucking fuck this up 1,000 ways to Sunday. Because again, what does Israel actually want? Their goal is the forever war. So they're already getting exactly what they want right now. Because effectively, they want Iran off the table as a regional power. That's what you need to understand. In order to create a greater Israel project, you need to remove...
Good God, tribe of Issachar, freaking 550. Look, out here in Texas, you're pretty much gonna have to either have a garage or you're gonna have to have armed security around your car, because look. Some vato is coming around the corner with a hose, and you're gonna go out there, you're gonna try to turn your engine on, and nothing's gonna happen. I'm telling you that right now. If it ever got that high.
Any resistance to that. The way you do that...
But yeah, that's pretty much it on that. Let me, before I go into this next one, let me see, I gotta let it up. Yeah, this one. Right? Before we go into that, so this is, everything we just seen right here is this. This is where we are. This verse, we are here. Right? Isaiah 13:17, behold, I'm stirring up the Medes against them, who have no regard for silver and do not delight in gold. There will not be no deal made. We don't care about your deal. We don't care about your money. It's up now, right? It's, it is what it is, right? It says, their bows will slaughter the young men. They will have no mercy. They will have no mercy on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes will not pity children. The Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the splendor and pomp or pride of the Chaldeans, the chief people of Babylon, will be like Sodom and Gomorrah when God overthrew them. God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah with Sodom and Gomorrah with fire. That's not how ancient Babylon fell. That's how this Babylon will fall. So when we see things like what we just watched, all that stuff when about the children getting blew up, their spiritual pope getting blew up, his wife, his kids, cousins, all of that, Trump being the mad king, just willing America's destruction. When you see all of that, you should look back at this prophecy and be like, you know what? We are here. Right? We are here. This is the closest we've ever been to this right now. And so I want to add to this. So it's not just Isaiah 13. We also have this, Jeremiah 51. So Jeremiah 51, it says, thus says the Lord, behold, I will stir up the spirit of the destroyer against Babylon, against the inhabitants of Lebkamai, right? I guess just code name for Chaldea, so Babylon. It says, and I will send to Babylon winnowers, and they shall winnow her, like to blow her away. That's the destruction. And they shall empty her land when they come against her from every side on the day of trouble. And this is important to know, and this is going to highlight what I was talking about in Revelation 17. They're going to come against her from every side. Now we're going to see what that means after we read this verse. So it says, sharpen the arrows, take up the shields. The Lord has stirred up the spirit of the king of the Medes. That's Iran. Because his purpose concerning Babylon is to destroy it, for that is the vengeance of the Lord and the vengeance of his temple. Right? And that happened prior, like when it's talking about the vengeance of the Lord, vengeance of the temple. Babylon did what they did to our temple back then. And now in 2026, in this Neo-Babylon, they do the same thing. We make up this temple. All of us being the body of Christ make up this temple. And they've always sought vengeance against us, right? So when the Lord destroys this place, he's seeking our vengeance. Let's read verse 20. Let's go to verse 20. It says, you are the hammer, you are my hammer and weapon of war. With you I will break nations in pieces, and with you I will destroy kingdoms. And you know what? I can't wait for that day. Right? I cannot wait for that day. With this, it talks about all the things we're going to bring up: the horse and the rider, the chariot, the charioteer, pieces man and woman, breaking pieces the old man and the youth, breaking pieces the young man and the young woman. I will break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. I will break in pieces the farmer and his team, and with you I'll break in pieces the governor and commanders. And we're going to see that fully being fulfilled in Joel chapter 3. When Jehoshaphat happens, it's over with. It's over with. And I pray that I am one of the ones. I pray that I'm one of the ones doing. I was going to say something bad. But what can you imagine if the Lord made us all like Dragon Ball Z characters and we were flying around just doing that to the nations? That would be, that'd be the shit, bro. That'd be the type of dreams I'll be having. But when I think of it, when I picture it in my head, that's what I believe we're gonna do. Now, is that what we're literally gonna do? Who knows, right? It talks about those like the weakest of us are gonna be like David, right? But in my head, when I picture it, when I dream about it, we're all Super Saiyans flying around shooting Kamehameha waves at nations. That shooting spear bombs, holy spirit bombs on the nations, right? That's what I see. Right. That don't mean it's gonna happen, but But this is what we're waiting on. This is what we're waiting on, bro. So with this, it's gonna take on both sides. It's gonna destroy them, and he's gonna fashion. We're gonna leave off at. Right. So destroy. Oh, the sharpen the arrows part. Now we see this. We see this right about the sharpening the arrows. We're waiting on this right here. So 2nd Ezra 16. I'm gonna start at 14. It says, behold, let me see. No. We're not going to start there. We're going to start at 8. It says, the mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? It's nobody. Nobody will be able to quench it. This is a rhetorical question. It says, he shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? The earth quaketh. And this is why I want to start here. The earth quakes when this event happens. The earth will quake. What will cause the earth to quake? ICBM nuclear missiles. Right? And Iran doesn't even have to be the one to fire those. And we're gonna show that right after this. Right? It says the earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof, the sea riseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Lord and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. What are these arrows? These are the same arrows that are being shot from the nations that are going to destroy Babylon the Great, which we're going to see in prophecy in Revelation, the 17th chapter. So look at this. Verse 14. Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled, and shall not be put out till it consume the foundations of the earth. Right? So when they're shot, there is no going back. It says these are going to be shot from the ends of the world, ends of the earth. No physical arrow can do that. No regular everyday crossbow, trebuchet, whatever arrow shooting apparatus that you have can't shoot arrows from one end of the earth until the other. These are making reference to what we know today is ICBM nuclear missiles. Now, when we pair this with Isaiah the 13th chapter, with Persia doing what they're going to do to Babylon the Great, Jeremiah chapter 51, how they're going to encircle around Babylon and then shoot their arrows, and they're not going to miss. Like it says in 2nd Ezra, we also pair that with this. Let's go to Revelation 17. Revelation 17, and let's start at 15. And the angel said to me, the waters that you saw where the prostitute is seated, the prostitute or the great whore in the KJV, is making reference to Babylon, right? That great city. Is the waters that you saw where the prostitute is seated are peoples and multitudes and nations and languages, right? Because America is that great superpower over the damn world. It's crazy you can read this. Christians will read this and say this is not America. Okay, right? So verse 12, 16. And the 10 horns that thou saw, they and the beast will hate the prostitute. They will make her desolate and naked and devour her flesh and burn her up with fire. They are going to shoot these arrows. It's not going to just be Iran. It's going to be all of America's allies who become confederate against America or Babylon and will destroy it with fire. Thus saith the Lord. Thus saith the Bible. Right? So when you add all that up together, these nations they're going to start making deals with Iran. Some of them already did when it came to the Strait of Hormuz. So why it's not a far-fetched ideology to believe that they're not going to turncoat against Trump. Trump's already randomly waking up every day. You know what? You get a 50% tariff. You think they're going to take that? That's going to affect their bottom line, their GDP, various different things of their nation. Just because you want to be the mad king. Is it out of the realm of possibility that they will turn against Trump or against America at some point? It's not. We see this biblically. So it's not just going to be Iran's, we're just waiting on this little nation right here to do this. It's going to be Iran and America's allies who become confederate against it to destroy her and burn her with fire. That's what Revelation says. All of that has to happen. All of that will happen, thus saith the Lord. So that's going into the destruction. All of that is what we're waiting on. So we're waiting on, just to summarize, just a quick synopsis. What we're waiting on is America's allies to turncoat, which can happen any day now, right? Persia to do what they're going to do. This war to really jump off, take off. We're waiting on all these things, and all of that is going to bring in the mark of the beast. Because what's going to happen before the mark of the beast is an economic collapse. You can't have the dollar here and the mark of the beast at the same time. Because the mark of the beast controls commerce. Like I heard somebody on Clubhouse the other day. I mean, I already let the cat out of the bag with IUIC, right? Talking about that's global commerce. Look, no, right? No. This is commerce in America. This is commerce in America, and the mark of the beast is you're going to have that to participate in it. So before that can happen, the dollar has to get moved out of the way. How does the dollar get moved out of the way? Economic collapse. While Trump is also simultaneously putting his stocks and money and finances into the blockchain. Like we see all the puzzle pieces slowly coming together to show us time is almost up for this place. That's why the devil's going to come down upon us very hard. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the image of the beast. So let's look at this. Let's talk about some economic things.
Turning now, significant breaking news literally happened moments before we just started. So let's go and put this up here on the screen. Breaking, the Houthis of Yemen have announced a maritime embargo against Saudi Arabia, quote, effective immediately. Saudi Arabia has until now exported about 4.5 billion barrels per day from Yanbu in the Red Sea, most of it heading south through the Bab al-Mandeb Strait between Yemen.
Oh, that, Ariella. I fully believe that's what's going to cause it. I wish I could highlight. Dude, they don't give me the option to do this on stream. They probably do. I just don't know how. Let me see. I'll learn it later. What is it? But it's what Ariella said. But I fully believe Babylon's going to turn on NATO over Israel attacking Turkey. Because, I mean, he's literally said, like, Benjamin Netanyahu has literally been saying it out loud. Like, what's crazy, what I learned about the Trump presidency, they don't say the quiet parts out loud. They just say it out loud. Because what are you going to do about it? I definitely think that's going to be the catalyst of this. But we'll see. We'll see.
Started. So let's go and put this up here on the screen. Breaking: the Houthis of Yemen have announced a maritime embargo against Saudi Arabia, quote, effective immediately. Saudi Arabia has until now exported about 4.5 billion barrels per day from Yanbu in the Red Sea, most of it heading south through the Bab al-Mandeb Strait between Yemen and Djibouti. So this means, Maz, this has been the literal nightmare scenario. This has been a significant way for Saudi Arabia's economy to remain at least somewhat resilient through the Strait of Hormuz blockade, with both the Strait of Hormuz blockaded and the Bab al-Mandeb Strait for Saudi Arabian oil. This will significantly impact, as we said, 4.5 million barrels per day that were currently
that's off the market now. All of that 4.5 billion, I think they say billion, right? Would it be? Yeah. Off the market. Off the market. That makes gas more valuable because now the demand goes up. I mean, like, the supply was diminished, so now the demand's going to go up. So that's why Brent crude and all the oil prices are going up. And they just blocked this. They literally blocked Saudi Arabia from moving gas through there. So oil through there. What do you think is going to happen? Like, this is what's been holding, like, that, and China not importing as much oil. That's been holding the economy together. Trump is out of tricks to manipulate the government manipulate the market to where gas prices stay low. This man is literally on a time clock. Right? He's on a timeline. Like, and what is that going to do for the everyday average American, like you and me? Our gas prices are going to skyrocket. It's going to be like COVID all over again, and most likely worse.
Hormuz blockaded and the Bab al-Mandeb Strait for Saudi Arabian oil. This will significantly impact, as we said, 4.5 million barrels per day that were currently transiting through the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, and actually keeping the oil market at least somewhat afloat throughout this last 5-month period. Your reaction to the significance of this, and then, of course, building on the strategic problems for the United States and the world coming out of this announcement.
Well, absolutely. This is close to a worst case scenario for how the war could escalate, because, the reason the global economy is not imploded to the degree it could have because of the war is because there was this pressure valve in the Bab al-Mandeb and the Red Sea, but which a lot of the oil, not all of it, but much of it from the region could have been pumped from this pipeline across Saudi Arabia and then through the Suez and so forth, or down through Asia. That's now, theoretically, if this announcement holds, and they really do enforce it, that option is closed now. And what also is happening is Saudi Arabia is being brought into war much more directly, whereas they've been somewhat more aloof from the conflict to date. And, I think this is now a situation where the global economies in Asia and Europe will be very existentially threatened on a short time frame. And the US also will be impacted very greatly. So
yeah, so now you're affecting the globe. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's gonna get to a point where people are gonna have to draw the line in the sand and pick a side. You're gonna have to pick a side. Like, the markets have been doing, like, they've been able to sustain themselves because this amount of oil is on the market that Saudi Arabia has been, like, contributing to. Now that's gone. Like, bro, people are running out of options. That's crazy.
The fact that the war even got to this point is very, very alarming. And the fact that the Houthis and the Iranians are now taking this step is very, very dangerous, because it suggests they themselves have now decided that the prospect of a negotiated solution is unlikely or almost impossible at this point, and they're using their own nuclear option here, or their own one of the highest escalatory options that they had on the table that they had not deployed in the first few months of the war. And I think that the calculation is that if the U.S. cannot make a diplomatic agreement if it's can't be trusted, or they can't have a consensus in the U.S. system strong enough to push forward with the deal, then the only other option is to basically send a very, very strong deterrent message by destroying the global economy, destroying the U.S. economy, and basically laying down a marker that no president will ever want to do this again because it was so painful. If you can't make a deal, you can at least inflict that lesson. And it's a very painful lesson for people around the world, for people in America, people in Iran as well, will suffer a lot. But it seems like if they're closing the Bab el-Mandeb, they've decided that that's the only way out of the situation. Now, I still always hold out hope that every escalation will result in some sort of rapid diplomatic shifting. And there's some talks about proposals for a new 10-day deal between the U.S. and Iran, a pause in strikes to talk again. We'll see how those play out. But I think that this move by the Houthis suggests that the odds of that are quite slim, and really everyone is looking now towards the deterrence option, which will be very, very painful for everybody and could see some of those worst case scenarios with oil take place within the next month.
Well, and part of the strategy is the global economy through the oil market, and part of the strategy for Iran as well is making life unlivable, punishing their own neighbors who have hosted U.S. bases.
They're not it's gonna get bad, bro. It was already gonna get bad. The longer, they've been talking about this. If you've been watching Breaking Points and Redacted, like Ariella mentioned earlier, if you've been watching that, the Strait of Hormuz being shut down was eventually going to cause an issue for however many long weeks, months it was shut down for. It was already going to cause an issue in the future at some point. But they were all expecting it for it to be open again at some point. It still isn't open. All of this is going to happen at one time. What's going to happen behind the Houthis shutting down their strait and Iran shutting down the Strait of Hormuz? All of this is going to hit at one time. That's where we at right now. Now, this was on Monday. Now, let me show y'all today. Look at this.
Oil and shutting down Fujairah. And there's some evidence they've already
up over $4 a gallon. So, Sagar, we've been talking about why there hasn't been a complete disaster in the oil market. I mean, prices are already pretty high. They're back up over $4 a gallon for American consumers today. But one of the reasons why there's been a bit of a cushion is because Saudi has been able to export some through the Red Sea. That plus China has reduced their imports significantly. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But if that piece is going away, that could be highly significant, especially as we're sort of scraping the bottom of the barrel here in terms of our strategic petroleum reserve.
Yeah, let's just lay out the picture. There's two main reasons why gas is still not at catastrophic levels. Although, let's put C1 up here on the screen. I mean, as of this morning, gas is right back to $4 a gallon nationally. So it's not like, people got a little bit of a reprieve around I think the lowest we saw was $3.80, maybe $3.90 per gallon.
Wonder how the Freedom Fuel Network is doing this morning.
Yeah, we should check in.
Yeah, you Californians, man, boy, I tell you, bro. You Californians, man, I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how you do it, bro. I promise you that. I don't know how you do it.
Check in on the Freedom Fuel Network, but we have $4 a gallon here nationally, and that's where things are now when things have been cooled off. So there are two primary reasons that things did not go absolutely catastrophic. One was Saudi Arabia, as you just said, approximately 4.5 million barrels per day that were coming out of the Bab al-Mandeb Strait that they were able to export. That's roughly 3 to 4% of the world's oil supply, which the Houthis now say they will blockade. And I do think it's worth meditating on this. Why should we even take it seriously? Immediately, I was looking here for the reaction. I was like, wow, this is a literal nightmare scenario. Of course, there's a lot of people. They're like, well, that would only assume that they have the ability to do so. And I'm like, they do have the ability to do so. They did it. They literally did this. Years ago, we bombed the living hell out of them, and we still were not able to stop the blockade. Both Biden and Trump expended a serious amount of munitions. And you know how the Houthis responded? They were able to do so, and they even clipped an F-35. Let's not forget about that. So these are not just some guys, with RPGs in a cave. This is some seriously capable guerrilla force.
It also does,
and that's what Americans think. That's what Americans think these people are. They think they're just some random Arabs in a cave with RPGs, and all we gotta do is just send some bombs. No, time has passed, right? maybe that's who they were some decades ago. Time has passed. People have advanced technologies now. These people are buying from Russia. These people are buying from China. These people are buying high level instruments of warfare. These people can blockade a strait if they want to. These people, like you said, they already clipped a freaking, was it F-35? They already did that. What nation you know is doing that who's undeveloped? Like, this is where we are. This is something that y'all should understand and y'all should pay attention to. All this and what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz. This ain't something that should be taken lightly, because all that oil taken off the markets, that you're looking at, we're probably going to be looking at like $4 or $5 in the next month or so. I ain't gonna hold you.
Doesn't take that much because you're relying on commercial shippers.
Right.
I mean, you've had sailors on these cargo ships who have been killed.
Yeah, many.
And then you have the insurance companies that are also saying, no, we're not going to insure your cargo ship going through this active war zone where a blockade has been imposed. So you kind of have, capitalism working against you here as well. They're just not going to be willing to take the risk. And who could blame them? I mean, if you're a sailor, one of these like working class men from around the world who are staffing these ships, you want to risk your life to run the blockade? I don't think so, not at all. And you've had captains who have actively been, their companies said, hey, you're going to take this route. And they've said, no, I'm not doing that. So you will see some of that as well.
Exactly. And then secondary is China. And this is one of the main focuses that we want to show everyone. Let's put C2 up here, for example. Chinese imports are beginning to rebound sharply. So
yeah, that right there. This is what was holding the market in place. China, for some reason, I don't think it's been explained yet, but China, for some reason, has just decreased the amount of oil that they import, and that's been helping America and the world in general. Like when it comes to the oil markets, keep prices low. But now, just randomly, say, okay, no, we're gonna start buying more again, right? They're gonna start buying more. And look at that. Look at that, a rebound on here. Look at that. Oil prices is about to get crazy, bro. It's about to get crazy.
why does this matter? As you guys could see from this chart, if you're watching, is that China was importing roughly 12 million barrels per day right before the beginning of the war. That plummeted below 6 million barrels per day after the outbreak of the war. Nobody really knows why. The general theory is that when oil was cheap, they stocked up. They have a massive strategic petroleum reserve. But one of the things that we kept hammering home here is eventually they will have to buy some oil. They may not resume the full 12 million barrel per day purchase that they were at, but a resumption in their price because of their sheer size for a massive oil importing nation means it will put significant pressure on the global oil market. Oil is a global commodity, at least for now, before things get totally catastrophic and you have to start doing crazy stuff. Well, with the Chinese imports, let's put C3 back there on the screen, it is the single most determinative factor whenever it comes to the global oil market. And so if you have two primary shocks that are already coming into a shocked system, and what I mean by that is the 5-month closure of the Strait of Hormuz, or at least disruption of the Strait of Hormuz, then you have the Red Sea, and then you have China. That is primarily why oil is not at $200 per barrel. But if it resumes buying, if China buys oil again with gusto, and this is when prices were in the $60 range, he predicted, this is Javier Blas, who's the chief energy commodities analyst over at Bloomberg, he said it would push the price to $80 a barrel. So $20 a barrel rise, just a resumption of oil. So just to give a picture, we are currently around 90. As of this morning. Things are fluctuating, obviously, because of the Houthis announcement, because of the resumption of war, or at least seeming like there's no memorandum of understanding, and of course, a reduction in what's happening. 90 is where put gas right around $4. But if you go to 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, things can get catastrophic very quickly. And then finally, really why, we should pay attention is, and I said, guys, I sent this morning, I'm not sure which element it is that what we have currently is an incredibly low stockpile, which I know we've talked about from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
Look at that.
It's not just the petroleum.
Look at that. That's where we are right now as far as the supply. Look at that, bro. Yeah, it's about to get. What is that? 43 days. What is that from now? What is that from now? 48 days. We talking. Right around SummerSlam time. Late August? 43? No, that's probably like somewhere right around here. Probably late August, early September. Oh, right before the midterms. Oh, it's over for Trump. It's over for Trump. It's just so no gas for vehicles. So what's going to end up happening is if that happens, or and they bottom out, what's going to end up happening is they're going to start rationing gas. They already did that in China, where it's either China or Taiwan. I forgot which one it was. It's one of them, right? One of the Moabites. But what they started to do is they made it to where only certain people can get gas on certain days. So depending on what number that you have on your license plate, if it's even or odd people with an odd number can get gas on this day and only a certain amount, and people on even can get gas when it's for the people on even and only a certain amount. And what they did is people had to start working from home. People had to figure things out the way they're going to do things, but they had the gas ration. They would have to do that in America. And honestly, I don't think Americans, and this is just a thought, I don't think Americans are, I don't think they're adept enough to actually do that in a competent way to where people would get gas. I think the rich people would just get gas and poor people would just be screwed. I think that's how it would go. Because that's how capitalism has always been in America. So I think that's just going to happen, and then that's going to lead to riots. It's going to be ugly. But that's how they do it in China. Like, people with odd numbers can get gas on this day, and even then you have to go. It goes back and forth. Then you have a certain amount. That's what a competent nation does. But I don't know what America would do. Right? You see, I told my wife I need to get a Tesla. No, you don't want a Tesla. That thing's held together by duct tape. Elon's even said it. Multiple people have seen it. That thing's held together by duct tape. Also, with gas going up and things like that, and with oil, that's also going to drive the prices up for electricity. And you still have to pay money, you have to pay to go get your car charged. That's going to drive the prices up for that too. So there's no escaping that. It's just going to get, like how you said, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get real ugly. But look at this, bro. It is like what happened in HOD. Yeah. I don't know too much about that. Yeah, I don't know too much about that, Ariella. But this right here is crazy. Look what they're about to say about this.
Is that what we have currently is an incredibly low stockpile, which I know we've talked about from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. But secondary to that is not just the petroleum reserve, it's crude oil inventories of what's left in the United States, the slack in the system. So if you take a look at this picture, you can actually see crude oil only has about 43 days of supply left in the United States. That is the lowest inventory in the 45 years of history of taking taking inventories. That lack of slack is exactly why Trump buckled in the first place. Remember, he said, right, I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. That was higher than where we are today. So 43 days left of supply. Again, I'm not an oil commodities guy. I've tried to learn as much as I can over the last several months. The reason I understand it is that obviously there's a fluctuation in how you produce oil. It's not exactly like a one-to-one business. So you need that slack to have confidence in the market that it'll be there when you order what you have. When all that gets taken away, and if it runs to zero, that's when stuff gets absolutely bonkers. That means just like, for delivery time, just-in-time delivery, etc. It would be just basically no confidence in the market. That's when export bans and all this other things might come into play. Literal shortages, people just running out of stuff. And maybe this is all, hyperbolic. I can understand why someone would say that after the 5 months of us talking about it. But I mean, at a certain point, it's like this is the reason the Strategic Petroleum Reserve existed in the first place. And to now be at the lowest level since 1983, you just have no runway. And so, I mean, we'll see. That's really the only thing, because you can't look at the current situation and say, oh yeah, Trump is going to blink. He definitely could at any moment, like he did last time. I still think he probably has to, just because of the logic of where we are. But you got 4 Americans now who were killed just in the last 48 hours, 72 hours, something like that. You have low inventory. I mean, what if they do a ground invasion? It's possible. And if they do that, it's over. There is no coming back from a ground invasion of any kind. You can't just withdraw them and then we take more casualties. Yeah. So if we don't taco at least some point in the next 2-3 weeks, that's where we're going.
Well, and here's the other piece we haven't even mentioned, which is Ukraine is hitting Russian oil infrastructure as hard as they possibly.
Oh, that I forgot. Oh, I was gonna stop right there. I forgot about that. Let me say this, and then I'm gonna go to that. Right. What they're essentially saying, without saying, is if Trump doesn't taco and just try to find some way up out of this, try to find some kind of off ramp on this, we're heading to full economic collapse. That's literally what he said. That's what it is. You're either going to taco and try to find some kind of way to open up that strait, or it's it. That's it for you. That's what he said. Now, do you think Trump is going to just gracefully take that L? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. We're talking about a man, and when he and his what he said is, I don't think about Americans' affordability or what is that? What do you say? Affordability. What's the other thing you said? I don't think about Americans' finances before I make my decisions. Like that person. Then you had I think somebody over his treasury said, "Oh, what are you talking about accountability? Not accountability. What's that word? Accountability. Affordability. Affordability is a Democrat hoax." What? This man said affordability is a Democratic hoax. Like this is what these people are saying. So I don't think they're going to taco. I think Trump will be Trump, not take his L and be the Mad King and lead us into a full economic collapse. Right? And you know what? Hey, it is what it is. I've been tired of going to work anyway, right? But let's go into something real fast. Let's go into this Bible real quick. Let's go into this. Let's start doing this because I want to watch a little bit. I want to watch one other video. It's real short, but I want to start going into this real quick. So I mentioned we're going to talk about the mark of the beast. This guy bankrupted several companies. Of course, yeah. All he's ever done is bankrupt things. I don't know why people think, oh, we got to get Trump in. He's a businessman. He's going to really change America. America's really like a business. So if he's a businessman, he can help America out. He could bring us into our golden age. No, he's not. He's not. Right. And I'll be having that conversation with people at my job. Bro, people at my job, there's few of them. This is Texas. So there's still some MAGAites at my job. When I have this conversation with people who lean all the way to the right, it's just, it gets to a point to where it's like, y'all are just retarded, right? I hate to use the R word. I've been trying to do better, but it gets to a point where your mind is just slow. Like it's by definition, like retard means to slow down. It's literally, it doesn't move very fast. These synapses that you have in there, they're just not firing that quickly. I'll hear an argument. I'll hear an argument where somebody will say, well, Trump's doing all this. He's leading us in World War III and economic collapse, but at least we didn't get Kamala Harris. Like, I don't vote, right, because of the Bible. I don't vote, and I don't participate in democracy. But to get on here and say, well, Trump may be leading us into World War III. Trump may be leading us into global economic collapse. He may even drop a nuke. But thank God we didn't get Kamala Harris. The only thing I said in my mind is this.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
That's what I be thinking about. That. What are you talking about? Like, it's like, it get to a point to where like I don't believe what's that? What is that? Not survival of the fittest, only the strong. There's some kind of like saying, right? It get to a point to where it's like I don't mind some people being cold, bro. I don't mind it because some people gotta go. Some people got like your brain is you're not a productive member of humanity at a certain point. That's what MAGA is. You're not productive. You're not conducive to humanity. So we need you to go, right? Darwinism. There it is. I forgot what it was. Like I'm not really a proponent of that, except for this, except for this topic. Let's go into this real quick because I want to talk about the image of the beast and talk about the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast is not sin. All you, my brothers and sisters who were lost in that ideology, it is not sin. But let's start with this. So Revelation 13 and 11, it says, "Then I saw another beast rising out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, and it spake as a dragon." Right now, the two horns is going like we look biblically. Horns are similar to government and leadership, right? How is America's government led by? The House and the Senate? That's how they want to pass laws. That's how America speaks through the laws that it proclaims out into the world, really into its nation. How does it speak as a dragon? Because through these laws, they do specific evil. They help corporations. They do things that specifically hurt Black, Spanish, Native Americans. Have you heard of COINTELPRO, right? Have you heard of all these various different laws they do that specifically hurt Black, Spanish, Native Americans? They speak as a dragon that way, right? This other beast, this is America, this is Babylon, this is that great city. The first beast being Rome. Now let's go into this. Verse 12, it exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast whose mortal wound was healed, right? That first beast is Rome. America is Rome. Let's just be honest. Like what you read about Rome in the Bible, America fits it to a T. So mouth speaking great things, stomped the residue of the Gentiles that they ruled over. All these things, the House, Senate, democracy. It's Rome. It's Neo-Rome. That's what it is, right? And when they force people with like a silly Black, Hispanic, and Native American here in America wants to be proud to be an American and wants to convert themselves over to the ideologies and concepts and philosophies of this nation, they are worshiping Rome. They're giving proskuneo to Rome. They're bending the knee to Rome. Verse 13 is that it performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people. Now, we've always taught that this is what Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and that fits, right? But I like I've been saying for the last 2 years, I have so many witnesses in my camp. I've been saying I think that this is I feel like this is doable. I feel like this is like what happened in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, but also what I think this government is going to do at some point. I think they're going to do this again. And the reason why I think that, when you keep going by this, it says, and by the signs that it allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives them who dwell on the earth, telling them to make an image of the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. So when they dropped this new, like with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, everybody was brainwashed to thinking America was unstoppable at that point. That did happen. But if they do that again, what would be the ramifications of that? What would be the ramification if they did that again? So, oh, they're really doing that. Now, when that happens, let's say they do that. Let's say they do drop that bomb. The oil markets are going to go nuts immediately. That's probably the first thing that's going to happen. You know what that causes? Complete collapse. You cause that complete collapse, that's going to usher in the mark of the beast. Now, when the dollar falls, that's when you're going to start seeing things like martial law, rationing, curfews, things like that, and the restriction of rights. Namely, what right? The first one. The freedom of speech. Trump is already working on plans and ideologies and systems to combat that. We already see things happen with that. When I taught this lesson about what was that? Those people who had like was it not a revolt? What was it? I be forgetting. A protest, an ICE protest, where they were lighting off fireworks, right? And somebody was arrested for passing out flyers that was leftist flyers that disagreed with MAGA and MAGA's ideologies. That man got 30 years. They did that to set an example, right? If you say things against what this government believes and its philosophies and what they deem is normal, they're coming after you. That is the image of the beast. I've said this plenty of times. When you look at the Greek word for image, their icon, it's a moral likeness of something. What is that moral likeness of? The beast. What does the beast do? Look at America. Look at what they've done. Look at the slavery. Look at the ideology. Look at the evil that they do in the quote unquote in the name of Christ, right? That's important to know. That's important to identify, and that's important to be cognizant of. Yeah, Ariella. Yeah, they said it, and that too. I want to highlight. Anytime somebody does anything counter to the ideology of MAGA or Americanism, they immediately label it as Antifa. It's the same thing that the small hats do. Oh, well, this is anti-Semitism, or this is Hamas doing this, right? They create their own boogeyman, because Hamas was created by Israel and America. Now, anytime Israel gets attacked, now Hamas did this, we got to do this against Hamas. They created their own boogeyman so they can use that to go against specific people. That's the same thing Trump and his organization and his cabinet does with Antifa. When you do something left of center, now that's Antifa. It's a leftist march. And we're going to talk about that. Now, I want to show y'all something. This is Stephen Miller. Let me show you Stephen Miller. And we're going to come back to this image of this beast. Look at what Stephen Miller said at the resurgence of political terrorism. Watch this.
The leftist is fundamentally motivated by envy, by hatred, by jealousy. The leftist looks at what is beautiful and what is good and what is natural and is filled with envy and hatred.
This is brainwashing. This is for the MAGA cult people who they're voting for people to enact laws that directly hurt them as long as it can spite Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is their Fox News state regime brainwashing. The people who disagree with Trump, they're just jealous of you. They're jealous of your freedom. They're jealous of your white skin and your privileges you have. Right? That's what they say a leftist is. But what they really mean by a leftist is anybody who disagrees with Trump. Not these people who are going to these, not just these people who are going to these parades, and not just these people who have like blue hair. They mean anybody who disagrees with MAGA. That's what this is.
The leftist looks at a perfect family with the perfect life and a perfect job and perfect kids that goes to church every Sunday and is filled with a feeling of inadequacy and jealousy, and they covet. And
so what do they mean by that? What's a perfect job and a perfect house and perfect kids? What is that to MAGA? That is a white man and a white woman with two kids, right? Where the man makes all the money and they have a white picket fence. That's what they believe that is. That's what MAGA always has been. Let's be honest, right? They say the leftist looks at that and hates it. And you have to realize this. This is why I'm saying this applies to all of us. Because we'll see that because we don't get that. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, due to the curses, we don't get that. We don't get to just live it up in Babylon. We didn't enslave an entire population of people to have the ability to buy houses in certain places that are good, where you will build equity, where you can pass down over and over and over and over and over again. We don't get that. And just bringing that up and just bringing that to light, people say, oh, you're just jealous of it, right? And wouldn't you be? If you're honest, if you don't have that, wouldn't you be? And on top of that, that goes back to what we think, like y'all get to just live it up in y'all's kingdom. This is your kingdom. I want to pray to my God and do the works of my God prescribed, and his son, the works that he prescribed, so that this could end. We want this. We want, according to the Bible, we want the Lord's day to happen. We want him to have vengeance for his people and for his temple, which is really going into us too. We want that. We want what God says. He literally says this. And what's crazy is a Jewish man would have to agree with that, because that's what they would quote unquote be waiting on. Christians will make videos about us every single day and say we're hateful, racist monsters. But Jewish people act the same way we look at these prophecies, so does the Jewish man. Let's be honest. This man's also Jewish too. But we look at it the same exact way. So what we want is for our justice to be at least acknowledged. When we try to have it to be acknowledged, oh, now we're just jealous of them, and we're jealous of of what they got. But y'all got that due to slavery. Y'all got that through white supremacy. You've gotten that from the image of the beast, because that's what you had in Rome. I say all that to say this. That's not just the blue-haired. They're not talking about just the blue-haired man or woman, or they, them, or Zimzer, or ABCDEFG, or quote-unquote Antifa. That's everybody who disagrees with white supremacy. Everybody who disagrees with white supremacy is left of center. That's all of us. That's not just them. You have to read between the lines when you're watching videos with these people, if we're going to be honest. Especially these people. You know, this guy is a small.
And they turn those emotions ultimately into a desire to subjugate, to oppress, and to inflict pain and suffering. It's not.
Yeah. So he's saying we have a victim mindset. That's like his coded speech. He's like, oh, well, you guys have a victim mindset. You can get where I am, but why has that never have happened? Why has that never happened in the history of black people living in America? Why has that never have happened? If that's something that could possibly be, at least some of us will be able to do that. And I'm not talking about the rappers. I'm not talking about the basketball players. I'm not talking about the football players, anybody who do any type of entertainment that entertains you people. I mean, getting it from the mud, the majority of us getting it from the mud, you don't see that. Why is that? Why is that? Because there's a glass ceiling, and that glass ceiling is the image of the beast and white supremacy and white Christianity, which is subjugated us mentally.
It's not a coincidence that when you look at these violent Antifa demonstrations, you see any photograph of those who were assembled. To be blunt, not one of the people that is demonstrating looks like a normal person. Not one looks normal. They're all deformed in some way, in their appearance, in their dress, in their mannerism. Why is that? Why? If you look at two photographs and you see a normal American street, you see an Antifa protest. Why do the people that are violently demonstrating, why is there not one normal-looking person among them? Every one of them, through the course of their life and their decisions, has scarred their body and their appearance in many different ways, to the point in which their outer appearance becomes a manifestation of their inner hatred. Trust your instincts. To all people and across all civilizations, you know what normal is. You know what beautiful is.
You see, they know what normal is. They know what beautiful is. Do you think they think black people, Hispanic people, and Native Americans are normal to them? You think that's part of their normality? You think that's what life is supposed to be? If that was, you wouldn't see so much hateful rhetoric come from the what they call the quote unquote right. And why y'all don't talk about the far right extremist groups? Why don't we talk like that? Like the hypocrisy is crazy. But that's It is what.
You know what good is. You know that families are right. You know that children are precious and beautiful and must be protected.
And that's ironic. This man is part of Trump's cabinet. This is Stephen Miller. You think children should be protected? Then why are you in a cabinet with a pedophile? He's in the Epstein files that we have right now that we can see that they still kind of deleted some of it every day. Trump said that 1,000,000 times. But you follow that man. You follow him. I need to get that clip. I need to get that as part of my soundboard. You follow him. That's who you follow. If you think children should be protected, why are you standing next to somebody who does? Matter of fact, no. If you think children should be protected, this man is one of these people. Why do y'all think y'all should do oral circumcisions then? If children should be protected, right? That's why do you think that? That's crazy. I'm gonna continue before I get struck.
You know that the criminal and the junkie and the predator is a threat to normal, healthy living. This is so much deeper than issues about taxation and regulation, although they're incredibly important. It's about normal, healthy, ordered living. And the violent leftists, for these deep-seated reasons, going back to the earliest wisdom taught to us in the Bible, about coveting. And I'm not talking about rich versus poor. I'm talking about a much deeper kind of coveting. Coveting people who are morally superior, who are superior in the simple, truthful way they live.
All praises to Miss Monica, man, for your continued support. And also Dark Child World for becoming a Masada insider. Right? All praise to you guys, man, for doing that. May the Lord bless y'all 1,000,000-fold.
Live their lives. People that they look at who are happy and ordered and peaceful and contributing to their communities. That burns an ember in them, and that's how you end up with the horrors we've seen throughout history, where good families are dragged out into the street and executed.
So this entire speech was just showing you a glimpse into what they plan on doing when it comes to the image of the beast, right? Because they say, what normal is. You know what a perfect job and a perfect family, perfect kids, and a perfect home looks like. Who has that? Who has that? If we're gonna look at the demographics, when the last time you had a perfect job? I'd have had 7 or 8 jobs. I ain't never had a perfect job. I ain't never had a perfect house. Right? No, I love my family. We're not perfect. Right? No, my kids, I'm calling my kids perfect. I love my kids, right? But you know what I mean, right? Who has that? Edom has that. The lineage of Esau, L-O-E, the lineage of evil has that. And so you know what that is. You should want to protect that from these far left people, right? Now, I want to show y'all something. So there's more on this, I guess, BS conference they had, right? And all this is going into the image of the beast. Let me show y'all this. So I looked into this. I want to show y'all this. Marco Rubio had his little speech, and I didn't feel like looking for that clip, so I'm just going to show y'all and highlight what he said. So he said, far-left political terrorism is not a recent-day modern novelty, declared Secretary of State Marco Rubio at the recent ministerial, I've never seen that word before, ministerial of the resurgence of political terrorism. For most of the modern era, it was the dominant form of political violence, right? Here in the United States, the share of left-wing terrorist attacks and plots has risen to levels not seen in decades, noted Secretary Rubio. In Germany, far-left violence has jumped by more than 40% in just the last year alone. In Greece, more than 80% of the radical violence is now driven by far-left anarchist actors. Now, do you know what drives people to go up against politicians and things like that? When they act like the Mad King during the Gilded Age and oppress their people and only consolidate money to the rich and powerful. That's what causes people to wheel out the guillotines. That's what causes people, and famine. You know what's a common denominator between Greece and Germany? All of those things. Germany, I've been hearing about Germany's economic situation for the last like year and a half. I've heard about Greece's a few years ago. That's why people are doing that, which is also funny, and that's why they're trying to get ahead of it, because when shit hits the fan here, I really think people are going to try to do that here. And no matter of fact, I know they are, because that's what Matthew 24 is talking about. When Christ talks about people being driven by the plagues and the plagues, the pestilences, and the famines, that's what we're going to see. They're trying to get ahead of that now so they can already make it look bad and get this in the minds of the MAGA cult. Who's like, every killing me, you see, motherfuckers had that hat, make America great again, or America first. When they're literally America, they're making America worse again and America last. They're Israel first. Put Israel first up there. Get your damn yarmulke that says Israel first on it. That's what they are. It's the irony, right? China, it's free Trump. But let me continue with this. So this third paragraph, it says, there has been an all-out assault on our immigration officers. Now they try to pinpoint American immigration officers. Now, why is that, though? Why is that, Marco? Why is that, Marco? Last week, y'all have killed brown people who was not your target for no reason. Most of which who have work visas. That means they have a social security number. That means they're allowed to be here, Marco. That's a part of your rules and structure in ordered government. They have in the last week killed 2 to 4 of them who was not targets by them. Why do you think people are mad? I like how they just get to do things and people get and just think, how dare you get upset? How did you get upset, right? Like, why do you think that is? Just like when you said that about far left violence in Germany and Greece, because you know what the right does every time? They always consolidate wealth to the rich, the rich and the powerful, and it makes it bad for everybody else. So when people disagree with that, they become quote unquote far left. And when they have a problem with that and then do political violence, it's driven by how y'all been governing. There's always 90% of the time there's a logical reason for the way people act most of the time, right? Why do you think people are doing that to ICE? Because y'all show up to people's cities and cause violence for no reason except racism. That's it. Like, let's be honest, that's it. That's why that's happening. Let's go back. There's been an all-out assault on immigration officers. And matter of fact, before y'all want to just play games, I'm not saying that's okay, right? I'm not saying just do violence, but can we look at the cause and effect? Like, everything that happens around you, there's a cause and effect. So the effect is they did political violence. Okay, why did they do political violence? Oh, maybe because we're just beating people's ass for no reason and then laughing about it and then not having to be held accountable. Maybe that's why that's happening, Marco. Like, Jesus Christ. It says there has been an all-out assault on our immigration officers, sniper attacks, explosives, armed ambushes, stated Marco Rubio. A transgender shooter opening fire on a Catholic elementary school students as they pray. His gun marked with the slogans like "Where is your God now?" A healthcare executive executed in cold blood in the streets. No, that one though. That one. Now, why would that happen? Why would a healthcare executive be unalived by somebody? Maybe because y'all allow for these healthcare providers to charge ridiculous premiums, make it to where they don't pay for shit. If something bad happens to you, now they don't want to pay for it, and now your ass out. You know what's the main reason why, and I'm saying this to everybody, y'all can look this up. The main reason why people file for bankruptcy is for medical costs. So seeing all that and seeing what the plight of regular everyday Americans are, you wonder why a regular, quote unquote to them, regular American bugs out and does that. Am I supporting it? No, but with my eyes and my brain that allows me to do critical thinking, I see why they would do that. Right? Let's continue. Where do we live? Right. Multiple assassination attempts on the sitting president. No, look, bro. We're calling all of those. We're calling all of those into question, bro. We're calling all those into question. It says a healthcare executive executed in cold blood in the streets. Multiple assassination attempts on a sitting president. The unaliving of the greatest conservative activist of a generation. Charlie Kirk. They always got Charlie. They always have to mention you, man. They always have to mention. Like, why, bro? They think this guy is MLK. The way they talk about Charlie Kirk, you would think this man led some kind of like civil rights revolution. You would think that happened. It says Charlie Kirk was shot and unalived while speaking to a crowd of students. This is a distinctive and unique evil, right? It's a poisonous resentment cloaked in language of equality and justice and liberation. Well, you know, now I have to bring back the cause and effect thing, right? So if we're gonna really think about it and be honest, is this not American? When Britannia came over there and put taxes on you, and you had to still serve a king hundreds of miles away, right? And they one day said, you know what, we're gonna just start taxing the tea. And y'all said, we've had enough of that. We're gonna have the Boston Tea Party. And then y'all went to war against him and won. Y'all say that's patriotism. Y'all have a movie called The Patriot. Right? Pretty good movie. I think Mel Gibson's in it. Pretty good movie. They made us watch that in school. Right? Y'all say matter of fact, that is the most American thing that you could possibly do, because that was the American Revolution. That was brought about by the inequality that Britannia or Britain or the UK put on y'all. But you will say these people are patriots. Huh. Imagine that, right? Let me see. Imagine that, right? Let me see. It says, this is poisonous resentment cloaked in language of equality and justice and liberation, an overwhelming need to tear down what greater men have built. Out here. Okay. To wreck what is beautiful and what is right. So to pretty much cause a disruption in the establishment. That's what you mean. You want to cause a commotion in the establishment. What is the establishment? White supremacy. The image of the beast. That's what it is. You want the image of the beast to stop. Watch this. Is it on South Florida states? Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. So before I read this, I want to show y'all this about the image of the beast. So verse 15, it said in Revelation 13:15, it says, and it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who will not worship the image of the beast to be slain. Now let's look at this. Under President Donald Trump, for the first time, the United States is building the strategy to defeat the scourge of far left terror. right? The president signed a national security presidential memorandum number 7, outlining a comprehensive strategy to investigate and disrupt Antifa terror networks and their allies. You know, just like what they did with I don't know if that was a brother or not. I don't remember. But that dude who was passing out far quote unquote far left magazines who got 30 years. That's what they do. They weaponize the judicial system. So terror networks and their allies. What makes you think they wouldn't do that to Hebrew Israelites? I'm just throwing that out there. Right? It says last November, the State Department designated four violent far-left extremist groups as foreign terrorist organizations, and there will be more designations soon. So how would that not affect Hebrew Israelites? What they say, quote unquote, is America's greatest ally is Israel. We claim we're Israelites. I mean, you think they're going to accept that? You could easily be, oh, you're a far left extremist. You think you're an Israelite. You think that God's going to come back and save your people from us. What makes you think they wouldn't do that to Hebrew Israelites? But this, watch this. In December, the State Department announced rewards for justice, offering up to $10 million for information disrupting the financing behind these groups. Boy, I tell you. Oh man, that's gonna get a nigga to turn state's evidence if I ain't never heard of it, bro. If I ain't never heard of it. They're offering up $10 million for information disrupting the finances behind these groups. They could easily do that for Hebrew Israelites. You could easily have you a Judas. When they remember that movie Judas and the Black Messiah, and they gave Buddy a gas station or whatever. They could easily do that. They could easily do that, bro. They could easily do that. That's what you're gonna see with. Let me see that Matthew. This is Matthew 24 if I've ever seen it. That's it, Maddie. Yeah, Matthew 24:9. Then they will deliver you up to the tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Oh, they could designate you as a hate group, designate you as far left, right? Verse 10. And then many will fall away. Fall away means falling from the truth, right? It says, and betray one another and hate one another. That could easily happen. You could easily get you a Judas. You know what? I'm tired of being a cat. I know brethren who've decided, like, you know what? I'm not gonna teach the Bible no more. I don't gotta teach this on the streets no more. I'm not gonna do any of this anymore. All that is dead, and they go back into the world and become Christians, right? What's stopping them from collecting their $10 million? What's stopping them from doing that? That's what we have to worry about. Christ said that would happen. Right? It is time for people of the civilized world to defend themselves, to stand united against this encroaching darkness and fight. And now it's gonna put a battery in the back of MAGA. Oh, if you don't like America, leave. And if you don't want to leave, I'm gonna tell on you. That's what we have to do with. Because we can easily just say, oh, that's Antifa. There's no reason for us to believe that's just gonna be Antifa. There's no reason. If we've seen ICE Gestapo, if we already seen the ICE Gestapo already going to places like Chicago and places where black people and arresting black people who are obviously citizens, what makes you think they won't do that to everybody? Why do you think they got that budget like that? ICE got a budget that we ain't never seen. Like, what makes you think they wouldn't do that to Hebrew Israelites, bro? And the reason, but that leads us all the way back to Revelation, the 13th chapter, right? What makes you think that they wouldn't do that to Hebrew Israelites? Because we believe contrary to the image of the beast, the morality of this place. They say, what do you trust your instincts? You know what's normal, like a perfect house, perfect wife, perfect kids, all that. We know who that's perfect to and perfect for. They talked about believing in Christ and quote unquote being Christian. Now, we don't affirm Christianity. We're against that too. You're against the image of the beast by being an Israelite. And this ain't, and when I say this too, this ain't this word for image right here. That's not Caesar Borgia. Now he's part of it because that's going into Americanism and Christianity, but that's not Caesar Borgia. That doesn't make any sense biblically. But that's what this is going. That's what this can look like. We see them wanting to make memorandums and give bounties for people who are on the far left or who disagree with MAGA and the government. We see how this could be. I'm not saying like, okay, this is what I'm giving you a prophetic breakdown of the image of the beast, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we literally can see the puzzle pieces of this coming together, of how this could be this. We should all be looking out for this. Now that leads us into the mark of the beast. When we look at this, Revelations 3:13-16, and it causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked with the mark on the right hand or the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark, that is, the name of the beast or the number of his name. So I've heard Hebrew Israelites who, like, I'm just going to be honest, you don't have the breakdown saying that this is sin. The reason why this isn't sin is because this mark comes from the beast, the second beast. So what you're saying is, if it's sin, that the mark of the beast predates the actual beast. No, that's silly. That's illogical. It's a shame that Christians have the right break. Christians know that this is the RFID. I have a Christian in my job who literally says, the mark of the beast is the RFID chip. Like I literally have heard them say that. It's a shame that they have the correct breakdown and y'all don't. Now, when we look at this mark of the beast to participate in commerce, right? To participate in commerce, you have to have this mark of the beast. So if this is going to be your access to commerce and to buy and sell things, what has to be replaced? The dollar. You know what could cause a dollar to be replaced? An economic collapse. That's why we should be looking at this war, because it can cause an economic collapse. When I do my like layouts, my outlines for these classes, I'll show like 3 different topics, but they will all be on the same subject. I don't know if y'all caught on to that. This all flows into one thing. This war could fulfill prophecy in Isaiah 13, Iran and the beast, not the beast, the horns, or America's allies turning on America. This war can cause that. This war also can cause martial law, because of an economic collapse, which could bring in the mark of the beast. But when that economic collapse happens, they're going to have to try to wrangle the people. The way they're going to wrangle the people is martial law and slaying, according to the Bible, slaying people who are against MAGA or against the government in any form or fashion. We just seen that with Marco Rubio's own speech. We've seen that with what they believe and what they try to do with Antifa. All of this bleeds into one specific thing. Also, shalom to everybody coming in the chat. But to say that this is not talking about like Americans, like to say this is not a physical thing is absolutely crazy, right? Let me show you this. When you look at this word for mark right here, it's a compound Greek word, charagma, with 2 roots. Now, charagma is a stamp or imprinted mark. These are physical things branded upon a horse, right? Now you got the Christian breakdown right here, which no, right? But something that's branded, it's a physical thing. How do we know it's physical? Let's look at this. Let's look at the two root words that make this up. So, charax. It's a stake or a palisade. Let's look what a palisade looks like. Not the truck, right? Palisade. Palisade. It's these individual. Let me see. Let me see if I could. Maybe the Pike. I'm not looking for the damn car. Let's just do this. These individual little wood piece right here. This is a Palisade, right? That looks eerily like a syringe. Eerily. Now, I say that when you go back to this right here, not the car, the other root that makes up charagma, grapho. Grapho means to write with, like, how this is how it's used, right? To write with a reference to form of words and letters, right? Something wrote on pieces of paper. It's really just data. All this boils down to is data. So charagma, the word that gets translated from the Greek to mark in English, is made up from these two Greek words. The word that's charax, meaning a palisade, and grapho, meaning something akin to data or something written down. Something that looks like a syringe and something that is used for data, to store data. What does that sound like? Does that sound like sin to you? No. There is another Greek word which I didn't plan to show that. I'll do that when I do my own video, like showing how the mark of the beast is evidently the chip, right, or something akin to it. There is already a Greek word for a spiritual mark. That is not here. That's not here. That's not the breakdown. Maybe if that word was here, you'd have a point, but you do not, right? Secondly, this right here in the very next chapter. Mark it his head. Yeah. So Revelation. Let me see. Well, I'm not gonna say IUIC is the worst camp ever. They're good. They're good for people first coming in. They're probably the best for anybody first coming in the truth. If you're trying to make an easy transition from Christianity to the truth, right? With that being said, I don't believe every breakdown they have is correct, right? And that's probably something they can say about me. You know, it is what it is. But they're wrong about this. I'll give you. Like, I'm not even gonna play games. And this is actually a very pivotal doctrine. Because when the economic crash, when the eventual economic crash happens, this is going to have to be mandated. So when this is mandated, it's important to know exactly what it is because of this verse. So Revelation 14:9 is and another angel and a third followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast and its image and receives a mark in his forehead or in his hand, so it doesn't just say his right hand, it's just in any hand, the hand, right? He also will drink the wine of God's wrath poured full strength into the cup of his anger, and he will be tormented with fire and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So they will be burnt up. There is no repentance for taking the mark of the beast. There's no way we can teach that sin is the mark of the beast, but we see in the next chapter over, taking the mark of the beast is unrepentable. That does not work. You have to eisegete to do that. You have to isolate that in that chapter to make that point. To come up with some damn sanctions is no, right? Not even. If you take the mark of the beast, it's unrepentable. So it's important for people to know what that is. Like, my parents are in Christianity, and the first thing they've learned from me is what the mark of the beast is. Now, if they take it, look, that's on them. They know what it is, right? So That's a pivotal doctrine that we have to know and get correct. And the Lord has given us all the puzzle pieces to put that together to know what that is with the Greek language and with just the general context and critical thinking, which a lot of Hebrew Israelites lack, right? I'm gonna be honest, a lot of Hebrew Israelites lack just that synapses firing to give you the correct breakdown on time, right on time. A lot of us lack that, right? And it's important for us to understand these things. Very important. It's a very pivotal doctrine. So everybody be on the lookout for that breakdown I'm gonna do, because that I feel like that's something that's very like. There's another word, not pivotal. It's just important. Let's just say that it's a very important understanding and breakdown you need to have and understand. So not only would I prove it in a very succinct way, going with the Greek and dealing with the Greek, I will also have the arguments presented against it and then confound those two. That needs to be done. Lord in Christ. What else I got on that? And also, this is a gripe that I have with Israelites who, when you show Israelites who believe the mark of the beast is sin or Caesar Borgia or something else, and they say, "Oh, we don't deal with the Greek," I need you to stop pulling out the Zondervan Bible Dictionary and then saying, "Well, the Bible was put together in Hebrew and Greek." Shut the fuck up. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, shut up. You sound so silly saying, like, you can't go to the Zondervan and say the Bible was, because they do that because, like, how do you know how the Bible was put together? You read the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. It was put together by Hebrew scholars and Greek scholars. So they read the Hebrew and the Greek. Now, when I asked you about the Hebrew and the Greek, now nobody knows the Hebrew and the Greek. So how can we trust the KJV then? Like, that's what I mean about critical thinking. Like, it just
what? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
That's what I be thinking when I hear Hebrew Israelites, when you have to be held accountable by other Hebrew Israelites in this truth. Now all of a sudden we don't debate. Now all of a sudden it's better than it's better for us to agree to disagree. Now all of a sudden then, but when a Christian is talking to you, now we have a debate. You know, that you niggas, man. You niggas, man. And just throw one more in IUIC, because y'all love y'all, but y'all, I'm giving you some constructive criticism. Don't say you don't debate people, but then every other day take debates and title it a debate on your channel. Like, I'm just like, I feel like that's not hate. That's just being literal. Like, don't do that, right? Please, just for the sake of us looking like, because let's be honest, y'all get a lot of views. Y'all are the most known camp in Israel, right? And kudos for all the work that you've done. Just please, if you're going to be the people who represent us, right? If you're going to be that people, don't be a hypocrite. Please. Just please. But that's pretty much the gist of what we got going on today, bro. The image of the beast, we're seeing that. I've been harping on that easily for the last few months. And the mark of the beast, if this is the economic collapse we might see freaking late August or September, just know that mark of the beast is coming right after that. Just know it's coming right up after. Oh yeah, Ariel, Paul debated all throughout Acts. Like, if Hebrew Israelites going to say debating is wrong, you're going to have to, your Lord and Savior. You know, some of you Hebrew Israelites make Paul your Lord and Savior, right? Like, do I do it? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm just saying, like, some of y'all make Paul your Lord and Savior and make his words equivalent to Christ and the Torah. It can't be. It can't be, right? But like I was saying, right? It's a lot. It's a lot, bro. Us being Israelites, we need to be cognizant. I did it again. Cognizant of things that's going on around us, whether it be the war, geopolitics, our own things that we do, ourselves, getting ourselves right. paying attention to the image of the beast damn near being here in full effect, right? The mark of the beast, a true breakdown on that. Understanding what's going on in the economy and what we can do right now to put ourselves in the best position while having faith. All of that are things that we need to be worried about, right? Because we're Bible believers. Being a Bible believer, you have to watch for these things. So I don't got too much to say after that. I got let me do this real fast. Where is this at? If you haven't seen it, I dropped a video today. I said it earlier. Let me go back to this. I dropped a video today. God Logic says there's two most highs. Now, you already got Christians in the comment section. He didn't say there's two most highs. Yes, you did. He literally says, who are these two most highs? Christian, oh, you people. So he says there's two most highs. That's stupid. You're dumb. I don't even know what to say really to that. Like, it's just, that doesn't make any sense. But long story short, there's this thing called the royal we and the majestic plural, where we use words in plurality to denote majesty or power or authority. Daniel 7 is one of those instances. And not only do you not need to know that to break that chapter down, when you look at other precepts like Revelation 5, 1 Corinthians 15, you can see that there are not two most highs in the kingdom of God. The Son is in subjection to the Father. Paul literally says it. Literally. Like, not like, yada, you're just drawing that from the... Paul literally says it. Revelation 5 shows you that the Lord's sitting on the throne and Christ is standing next to him in heaven. Right? And Christ is going to rule on earth. He's going to rule for the Lord. Like that, all of that, I break all that down. And go watch that video. It's a great video. Right? And that's how I'm going to start doing some of my content moving forward. And I feel like it looks really, really good. And with that is probably going to come a change in the channel. Right? I don't want to operate like a regular Hebrew Israelite channel, just do all that. Like, I will have certain street videos that I want to put on the channel, but I will probably do that a certain type of way. I want to change this. I don't want to be operating like every other Hebrew Israelite channel. I want this to be firework and put out the best possible product I can. That's why I'm using Streamlabs. That's why I got the stuff on the bottom. That's why I'm doing all of this. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to move with a purpose. But let's see. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, let's just recap that. Hit that like button. Batista bomb that like button. Batista bomb that share button. Leave a comment on the comment section. You don't know what you're talking about, man. The mark of the beast is sin. You guys are bugged out. We're talking about some chips, microchips. And, just leave that. Like I always say, I'll leave that under the folder of things that I don't give a fuck about. And I appreciate you helping me in the algorithm. But if you leave a comment, if you want to give your opinion on certain things, good or bad, I'm gonna read it. If you haven't subscribed, we're gonna be doing a lot of big things. What am I missing? Hit that bell icon, because the YouTube algorithm really be screwing me a lot when it comes to pushing these videos out. So hit that bell icon so you're alerted by certain things. Also, after this is over, because you can't do it during the live video. Ariella showed me that last time I was alive. If you're on your phone, hit the hype button. Come back to this video, go in there and hit that hype button in the chat to help push this out in the algorithm, because YouTube want to play games with me. Ain't no way I got 25,000 subscribers and they only showing my content to 20% of my literal audience. Like, that's not me. That's a YouTube thing. So if you want to help your brother out, do a little bit of HBO, help your brother out, hit that hype button, bro. Like the video, do all that, man. And if you want to join the membership, I got some exclusive videos on there. Like, hold up, where? Right, I had a debate with a brother about is it a sin to marry non-Israelites, right? We debate a lot of different things in that. That's long, damn near 2 hour long. About like hour and a half debate, right? So I got that going on, and it also comes with a link to join our private group for the rebellion, where we do Bible study and fellowship and all various different things in there. Ask questions, go in there, do all that. What else? Anything else coming up? Right. Oh, just a few more things. So there was this one Christian. I guess his channel. He's one of those Christians who just go up against Hebrew Israelites. He made a video. Esau is not the white man, and it was just an AI video. We're gonna respond to that because no, like
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
the Jewish man himself literally says Esau is wrong. I mean, Herod is damn near self-admitted Herodian Edomite. Like that needs to get talked about. Matter of fact, I may even do a response to that debate I had with the brothers about debating if you can marry a non-Israelite. I might do a little bit of that. So that I got that going on. I got a lot of different ideas of things that I want to do. Also, if y'all have ideas of things y'all want me to either react to or talk about or have a breakdown on, because I don't mind sliding like breakdowns into my other classes. Like I really don't mind doing that. Like I like doing the work. Leave a comment or hit me up on IG. I need to get on Twitter. I need to get on Twitter. It's just that place is a breathing ground of X-rated material. they when they called it X, they did it for a reason, right? I might get on Twitter, but Facebook, IG. If you want to get in contact with us or you want to join the organization, you want to join the camp, join the school, the Masada School. I don't know why I ain't got a ticker for that. MasadaSchool@gmail.com. If it be on your heart, you want to support us directly, we got our Cash App in the description box. We also have, for everybody who can't use Cash App, who are outside of the United States or who just can't use Cash App, we have PayPal as well. I put that in the description thing too. And with that, that's pretty much all I got. So with that, I'm gonna say call halal Yahweh by Mashiach Yahweh Shai and Shalom. Slakia. Also, check out Ariala's breakdowns about the Pharaoh of Exodus and Moses in the Egyptian record lessons coming on Friday. Go look at that. I'm gonna share it when it comes out, but go look at that. Patronize my brother Ariala. He's got some good lessons on history, especially when it comes to New Testament history with who the Gentiles are that Paul and them went to. That's some great understanding, right? That I use, that I put in my notes as well. So go check him out. Go check out Jeshron too. And I don't see anything else. That's pretty much all I got. But yeah, with that, shalom.